In this video, I'll provide you with a very brief introduction to the urinary system. The urinary system is probably one of the most underappreciated systems of the body, at least I think so, until you start really learning about what it does, all of the things that it does. Your kidneys are really these amazingly intricate little organs that carry out an incredible number of functions, and they do this through what is probably the best known function of the urinary system, making urine. Now, the kidneys filter about 200 liters of fluid every day. Obviously, you don't have 200 liters of fluid in your body. So in order to filter this much fluid, that means that the entire blood volume of your body passes through your kidneys about 60 times a day, just constantly cycling through your kidneys. As that blood passes through your kidneys, the kidneys remove toxins, they remove metabolic waste, they remove excess ions, and send it out in your urine. Meanwhile, this is the flip side of that coin, the kidneys retain most of the necessary water. Of that approximately 200 liters of fluid, only about 1% actually leaves your body as urine. It's incredible. So both of these functions here are directly tied up in urine formation, getting rid of the stuff that needs to be gotten rid of and holding on to the stuff that your body needs to hold on to. However, since you have blood passing through your kidneys pretty much constantly, so many times a day, your kidneys are really well placed to monitor your blood and take necessary action in order to maintain homeostasis in the body. And that's where these other functions come in. The kidneys regulate the volume of blood. They also regulate the chemical composition of blood, the electrolyte composition of blood, and the acid-base balance, so they help regulate your blood pH. The kidneys also, when you are food deprived, when you're starving, or to put it more optimistically, prolonged fasting, they can perform gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is the formation of glucose. So when your body's starved of glucose, your kidneys, as well as the liver, can help provide glucose to the blood for your cells to use. The kidneys also are involved in bone health. Surprise. They metabolize vitamin D to its active form. So the active form of vitamin D is calcitriol, and that's actually made in your kidneys. There's a precursor that's made in your skin with exposure to UV, and then that precursor, as well as precursors from your diet, get converted in the liver and ultimately the kidneys to the active calcitriol so that you can absorb calcium. The kidney also has endocrine functions. It secretes the hormone renin, which is absolutely critical for maintaining blood pressure. It also secretes erythropoietin, or EPO, which stimulates red blood cell production. The kidneys are really the most physiologically active structure in the urinary system, but I don't want you to forget about the other urinary system organs. So while the kidneys are making urine and carrying out all of those other functions we just mentioned, you also have the ureters, and the ureters are paired. You have a right and a left ureter. These are the muscular tubes that carry urine from the hilum of the kidneys. The hilum is the inner curve of the kidneys. They carry urine from there down to the bladder. The urinary bladder then stores that urine until an appropriate time to release it. Finally, the urethra is a single tube that carries urine from the bladder to the external orifice. Remember, paired ureters, and the ureters are kidneys to bladder. In the urethra, there's just one, and that's carrying urine from the bladder out of the body. This image gives you an actual look at the urinary system organs. This is an image called a pyelogram. In a pyelogram, they inject a contrast dye and take a series of x-rays over time, watching as kidneys clear the dye from your blood. The kidneys show up here as just a faint shadow there and there. You can see the ureters are showing up a little bit more brightly, and you can trace them all the way down to the bladder. The bladder shows up much brighter than the kidneys because, as I said, this is where urine is stored. So there is a large quantity of the dye stored in the bladder. Urine, as it's being made, is continually passing through the kidneys, so the dye doesn't actually accumulate, doesn't actually concentrate until you get to the ureters and down to the bladder. These sorts of images can be used to detect problems with the ureters. This pyelogram shows an obstruction of the right ureter, right here where that yellow arrowhead is. You can see the accumulation of urine above the obstruction. And notice how you can't follow the ureter. You don't see the ureter anymore below the obstruction. That's because urine flow has been blocked, so it's not passing through the ureter. The dye, the contrast dye, isn't passing through the ureter below that point. The left kidney up here is perfectly normal. This kidney is abnormally swollen with stopped up, pooled urine. Like I said, this is just a really brief introduction to the urinary system. We'll go into much more detail. But by now, you should be able to discuss the functions of the urinary system, discuss all the organs of the urinary system, and answer this question.